So After was really bad, but I feel like y'all knew that. But we're not talking about the book today because the book is 500 pages, and I'll be real with you, I'm very tired. And I don't want to like have to like spend weeks reading that book. So the movie was really freaking bad. And I feel really bad for saying that because this movie is directed by a female director, which is awesome. There aren't a lot of female directors, so I think it's important to like uplift and support them. But at the same time, like if we want to have equal rights, that means that I should be able to tear your movie apart as I would a man's movie. So I guess in the name of feminism, this movie freaking sucks and the directing was terrible. With that being said, we shall begin our journey through After. So the main character of this movie, her name is Tessa, and it is her first year of college. She is not like those other girls, I feel like is one way to put it. So the movie begins and it is Tessa's first day at her new college, and she's driving up there with her mom and her boyfriend, who I thought was her brother, but we will get there. They get to her dorm room and they walk in, and that's when we're introduced to her roommate. And I'd say this roommate character is one of my favorite characters in the entire movie, because instead of just showing the audience that this girl is a bad influence, they just sort of like flat out say it in the script.
I'm gonna be your spirit guide. We can get you into all the best places even without a fake. No problem.
So after all of this, the mom is like, she's a bad influence, but I trust you because you're my daughter. It's really good acting. Then Tessa's about to go and say goodbye to her boyfriend and her mother. And up until this point, I didn't realize that it was her boyfriend.
Okay.
It is the most jarring thing to watch 15 minutes of a movie where you think that two people are related, and then to watch them kiss. It is like, I literally gasped because I thought it was just gonna be like a sibling hug, but I was like, oh, okay, whatever you want to do, Anna Todd. So after this, Tessa is going to her first day of class, and for some reason, she looks Amish in this scene. This is probably the worst acting in the whole movie. Like, it just is so awkward.
Oh.
Sorry. After you. No, honestly, I insist.
No, I insist.
No, honestly.
No, my mother raised me to be.
Okay.
Like, what is going on with that? You can tell that they're trying to hit their marks a little bit too hard. It's just bad acting, and that's probably the worst the acting gets, unfortunately. So after this, it's some unrecognizable period of time later, and Tessa has this steamy shower, if you know what I'm saying. Oh god. She gets out of the shower, and she goes into her dorm room, and this is when we're introduced to... what is his name? It's not Harry Styles. I think it's Hardin Scott. But for the sake of this video, I will be referring to him simply as Bad Boy. And he's just in her room with no explanation as to why.
Excuse me? I think that you're in the wrong room.
I'm in the right room.
And this is when we first realize that the love interest in this movie is creepy, but not in like a cute seductive way, but in like a I'm scared way. And all of his dialogue is like that, like no emotion, sort of like very blank, like maybe he's gonna murder her at the end of this movie.
Can you please go out into the hall so I can get dressed?
Don't flatter yourself. I'm not looking.
Tessa is guilted into going to a party because her roommate likes to party, by the way. They're all sitting around and they're like vaping and they're drinking, and maybe there's even drugs. There's like a scene where all the characters are sitting in a circle and then Tessa sits down and they're all like, drink this alcohol, do it, do it.
You want a drink?
I don't really drink.
Come on, we're all drinking. Have a drink. Do it. Come on.
But then of course she takes the drink anyway.
Oh, yes.
Because she's such a bad girl. Like, she takes the drink and they're all like, yes! But like, why? It's like almost like they're like a cult and they're trying to like convert. You know, it's just weird.
Do it.
So after this, they're like, let's play truth or dare. Because we're adults, and some idiot, and some freaking idiot is like, I hate his voice so much. I dare you to make out with Hardin. Because of course he says that, idiot.
I dare you to make out with Hardin.
She won't do it.
What is it? Yeah, come on.
I'm done playing this game.
This is when I realized that the love interest doesn't emote. You know how sometimes when you talk you like move your eyebrows or like smile? He doesn't do that throughout most of this movie, and it is like almost comical because like I started fanficking in my head that maybe he was a robot. This scene goes on for a painful amount of time. Just no emotions, just dead set eyes. It's almost freaky. Like, I'm scared of him. What can I say? He's just such a bad boy. So she starts like snooping around in the house, and then from the shadows emerges bad boy.
What are you doing?
Nothing?
And it was at this point in the movie where I realized something, and it's that if you transfer in like royalty-free horror music into the background, it is a completely different movie.
What are you doing in my room, Tessa?
Your room.
Yes. Are we still playing? Because I think you owe me a debt.
I don't know what it is, but the way he like stares at her, like not even in like a like I love you type of way, but almost in like a I want to murder you type of way. Like, it's not cute, and it goes on for so long where it's like I don't know what's gonna happen next, but I'm praying for her. Her roommate is getting a tattoo on her butt because she's a bad girl, and Tessa is there for some reason, even though her and the roommate haven't bonded at all at this point. Tessa just sort of out of nowhere goes into this spiel where she just talks about all of her internal conflict. Instead of like conveying it in a subtle way, she just like flat out says everything.
I feel like my mom has everything planned out for me.
Could have had a scene where the mom is about to leave and then she's like, oh, like your dreams are gonna come true, I'm so happy for you. And then it just cuts to Tessa and she's just like, yeah, okay. But we don't get any of that. We just sort of get Tessa outright saying, I don't like my boyfriend and my mom is planning everything in my life. Oh no. And it's just bad writing and it could have been done a lot better. So after all of this, Tessa is studying. She's at like a cafe and she's getting her coffee or whatever because she's not like those other girls. And then creeping in from the shadows.
Hi.
Hi.
I can't stay away from you.
What?
Like, is that not the creepiest thing ever? Like, the way he sort of, like, slowly comes into frame. Like, he does that throughout this whole movie. He just says, like, very creepy, ominous things that leads you to believe that, like, maybe he's gonna kill her. And for some reason, Bad Boy is like, come with me, I'm gonna take you somewhere. And I gasped because I thought that he was gonna murder her. And so, for some reason, she agrees to go with him. And he drives her out to the middle of the woods. And I was freaking out. I was like, this girl is she's so dead. And he takes her out to the lake. And then he starts to strip in front of her. And I was like, girl, run. Get out of here. Go, quick, before he gets you. She's like, what are you doing? And he's like, just take off your clothes, ho. And then she does. Up until this point, they've had no chemistry at all. They haven't had any like cute exchanges or like anything that leads me to believe that there's a romance. But for some reason, I thought he was gonna kill her, but now we're in love. What is going on? they go out to this little diner and they're eating together, but then all of his friends show up at that exact moment. He starts acting really weird and like very cold to her, which is really cute, and then she gets up and leaves angrily because he's almost like embarrassed that he's with her. In a very subtle way, he tells her that he doesn't date.
I don't date.
And this is probably our first conflict of the movie. He's a bad boy and he doesn't date. And she likes him, even though she has a boyfriend. And the way we're gonna deal with this conflict, instead of having meaningful dialogue or meaningful scenes, why don't we just have a montage with a sad indie song playing over it?
Take what you get and turn it into honesty. You promise me you're never gonna find you fake it. No, no, no.
And then we get the scariest scene in the whole movie.
What are you dreaming about?
When his face slowly enters the shot, and he's got that just completely like blank stare in his eyes, the look of murder. Bad boy has like a weird mental breakdown or something, and Tessa gets this call from some rando dude who doesn't matter at all, and he's like, Hardin is having a breakdown, he needs you. And of course she goes, and it's funny because at this point in the movie her boyfriend randomly came to visit her, and so he's like living in her dorm, which is not allowed, I don't think. Like, you can't just show up on a dorm and stay there. But her boyfriend is in town, and she like sneaks out during the night to go see bad boy. And his reasoning for being sad is because like, my dad is getting married and my mom, she doesn't have any money. Is that a conflict? Or, I mean, cut to a montage if it is, but well, I mean, I just don't know what's going on here. And so she consoles him, and to make him feel better, they hook up. Accidentally, Tessa spends the night with bad boy, and she wakes up with a text from her boyfriend, and he's mad.
Where were you? I texted you. You didn't answer me.
I'm sorry, my phone died, I'm sorry. A friend needed my help.
Wait, in the middle of the night?
You know what, I can explain.
It is so funny, not only because I think somebody had to go to the bathroom at this point in the version that I have, but the fact that the boyfriend is mad and she's like, sorry, my friend needed my help, I'm so sorry, and then like from the shadows emerges the bad boy. If you were actually having this conversation and then like some boy just creeps in from behind, like I don't know if I would assume that it was him that she was talking about. But okay. And of course, this opens up a huge conflict to the movie. Tessa cheated on her boyfriend, and she's conflicting not only within her own self, but her relationship with Hardin. You would assume that this would be a big thing, and it's going to open up a lot of entertaining stuff for us to watch. And at this point is when I realized, whenever there's a conflict, it is resolved with a montage. We saw that earlier with the whole not wanting to date her thing, and we see it again when her real boyfriend breaks up with her. Instead of having like cool character moments where she reflects and learns, we just get scenes of her being sad with sad song in background. But the movie goes from like this very sad montage to this.
Hey! What are you doing here?
Like all these conflicts are just wiped away, and now they're happy and they're in love, and we're listening to happy music now because we're happy. This is like a really, really awesome moment because this is the first time that bad boy emoted. He like smiled. I couldn't believe it. I like literally like I gasped when I saw it.
I just wanna be someone.
This is our third montage, like literally 5 minutes apart from the other montage we got, and they're only separated by a scene of them being like, wow, that's so sucky what happened. but I guess we can just bang it out, and that's literally it. And I thought because he emoted for the first time that they were actually gonna be in love now, and he wasn't really gonna be like a freaking creep anymore. But then so there's this scene, and her and Bad Boy are making out in their dorm room. At that exact moment, guess who decided to show up?
Tessa, hon, I've called all day. Tessa? Mom?
First of all, how did the mom get into the dorm room? Because every college I've ever been to or visited has been like a very tight security system where you have your card, you ID to get in the building, and then you get into the floor, and then you have your own individual key for your room. How did the mom just walk in? I feel like there'd be a lot of policies that she's breaking. Then the mom is like, boo! You can't date him. He's a bad boy. You need to have good grades. And he's a bad boy. And you can't date him. I don't know why I became Mario halfway through that. You made out with boy. He bad boy. He be break your heart. I cut you off. Ho. She doesn't say that. I mean, I wish she did, but she doesn't. I assume that anybody watching this film would be like, oh wow, that's gonna create a lot of conflicts. I mean, now she has to, you know, try to work, and she's being cut off from her mom, who I assumed her mom was paying for her school, so she's gonna have to work around this whole situation, and it's gonna cause a lot of conflicts, right? But no! Literally, like a minute later, Bad Boy shows up and he's like, guess what? I have an apartment that is not even my house. Some random woman who's in Italy right now. She's, you can have it. She doesn't live there anymore. All of her stuff is in there, but she's not there. She's in Italy for who knows how long. But you can live there. We can live here together. Yay! So we finally get the explanation about Bad Boy's past. The truth about it, and it actually was like really dumb. Like I still don't really get what happened, but it's fine. He's literally like, my dad used to drink, and one time he went to the bar and he got made a bunch of people really mad. And then those people came to his house and they wanted to fight. But then my dad wasn't there, and then I had to fight them off. He's like, I was only 8 years old and I had to fight them off because my dad wasn't there. Like, what? I'm sorry. I mean, I don't like to laugh because I understand that it's like a sad thing. But like, I what? Like, instead of like being an 8-year-old like squaring up outside, like, why don't you like, I don't know, maybe like call the police? And when I read that Bad Boy book, I remember I was laughing at the abuse in that book too. And I don't want people to think that I just think abuse is really funny. But it's just like, it's so poorly done. I'm just obsessed with Bad Boy characters being redeemed by like having a mean father. I don't know why. It's just like so unoriginal and dumb. But then they just dance and it's fine. And then at the end of the film, we have this plot twist. And I had never heard of this plot twist before. And it actually shocked me so hard because I didn't expect this story to go there or like have plot. They're sitting around with all their drunk alcoholic party friends, and then all of the friends are like, you tell her the truth, tell her. And then he's like, no. And then they're like, yeah.
So nothing's going on.
Don't you think this thing has gone a little too far? What thing, Hardin? Something's going on, but it's not what you think.
Let's get out of here and I'll explain. I'll explain everything, I promise.
Remember Truth or Dare?
Here's a dare. Make her fall in love with me.
Like, he was dared to fall in love with her, and so he went through with the dare. So many people told me that this book was like so obscenely problematic, and I assume that this is probably what people were talking about because he sort of like baited her in, and it was a fake relationship, and you know, it was basically like, I don't know, sexual assault because he deceived her the whole time. But the funny thing is this huge thing is introduced, and I assumed that we were gonna have a whole 30 minutes to deal with this, but we literally have 10 minutes left in this movie. How are we gonna solve this? We're gonna have a sad shot of her sitting in the rain. So, we have like 5 minutes left in this movie. I was like, I don't know how this is gonna be resolved. I bet it's gonna be either a cop-out or like actually a good ending where they don't end up together. Because that's how pessimistic I was about this relationship. And it's literally resolved by Tessa going into her class and her teacher being like, hey, Hardin, for his final project, wrote something about you. Oh, you should read it. Which I feel like that's against the law. I feel like you can't just give a student someone else's assignment. But she starts to read it, and he wrote like a poem about how he like likes her or something. I was just watching as the runtime got shorter and shorter, and I was coming up and it was like 1 minute left. And I was like, how is this gonna end? Like, we're literally like not even redeemed him. There's been no development at all. All the conflicts are like with the mom and with the boyfriend that she cheated on. They're like completely just abandoned at this point. How is this gonna be resolved? You wanna know how it's resolved? And then it just cuts to black and says after. Yay! Does this imply that we're getting a sequel? I can't wait. So I guess in conclusion, it's freaking bad. It was just bad writing, I think. I think it could have been dealt with in a better way. This movie probably could have added like 30 minutes and really fleshed out the relationships and really fleshed out the everything, I guess. Like the fact that at the beginning of the movie he was dared to fall in love with her, went through with it and did it. I don't really think that that shows that he's a terrible person. I just think that it shows that he has a lot of drive, and I really appreciate that as his character. Like he doesn't give up, even if it means like literally manipulating someone for months on end. That's fine. It didn't take very long, did it? The minute he like crept up behind her and was like, come with me, they just started making out in the lake after that. So I don't know, but I guess that was after. It's freaking bad, but I feel like most of y'all knew that. I don't know why people don't like this book or movie. It's really funny. I had a fun time. Y'all are just mean. I feel like saying that just started a bunch of conflicts. Is the montage gonna play? Hello? Hello? I just started a conflict. Okay. I'm just gonna go.